Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hello. Welcome everyone to our radio show where we encourage everybody to drop everything and read. I am so excited today. We're going to be interviewing Denise Montgomery. She is an author, a playwright, and so we're just so excited, a teacher. We're so excited to be interviewing her today. Hello, Denise, and welcome to our show.
Hello, I'm so excited about being here. This has been a long time coming.
She is the author of the new book, I Want to Go, yes. And she is also the author of The Setup, The Blessing, and Farmer Brown and Lady Madeline, the children's story. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Denise.
Well, as you said, I'm a teacher. I'm now officially a retired teacher. I'm getting ready to go into my third career. I taught in public schools for 23 years. I love to write. I have a wonderful son who doesn't live with me anymore, thank God. I have a wonderful son. I worked in public health for a while before I came to teaching. I'm a native Texan. And I'm just enjoying life at this stage of my life.
That is good. So tell us a little bit about, just a little bit about I Want to Go. Let's begin to talk about that and begin to discuss that just a little bit. Now, you know, for I Want to Go, how much of this story is autobiography? Is more of an autobiography than it is fiction?
Well, Denise, basically over half of the book is based on an experience, a childhood experience that I had when I was 10 years old. I'm dating myself, okay? But it was 1965, and the State Fair of Texas would come every year. But African Americans, or we would call it Negroes or colored folks at that time, we were only allowed one day to go. And that was the second Monday in October. And I was all excited about going. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and my grandmother would take us out every year. And this particular year, it rained.
Oh, wow.
And it rained, and I was like, okay, no big deal. We can still go. But every time I said that, it would rain that much harder. So my grandmother kept saying, she called me Lacey, and she kept saying, no, Lacey, sweetie, we're not going to be able to go this year. And I'm going, why can't we just go tomorrow? She was going, no, baby. You have to wait until next year. Well, Denise, you know that it makes sense to a 10-year-old. And I kept asking my sisters, and they would just pop me in the head and say, oh, shut up. We'll go next year. So that memory haunted me. And I'm going, okay, why can't we just go? I don't care if it is. Grandma called it Colored Folks Day. And I'm going, I don't care. It don't matter to me what colored, whatever. And it wasn't until some years later that I realized that it was because of segregation. Mm-hmm. So as you remember, you and I were in Houston at a conference, and the idea just came to life. It just came to life, and it took hold of me, and I just started writing. So I would say 50% of it is fiction, 50% of it is nonfiction.
Okay, and then the historical facts is that at the time, Texas didn't allow colored folks or Negroes to attend the fair but one day a week. And so really a month. Okay, the whole time the fair was going on.
The whole time month. We had one day, the second Monday in October.
Oh, wow. And so, you know, that made me look at Indiana's historical facts. And I guess that wasn't something that was across the country because I never seen that. I never heard of that. So that was very interesting to me, to know that just once a month, African Americans were able to attend the fair, and that was the only day they could go, no matter if it was raining or whatever it was.
Now, Denise, it wasn't just African Americans; it was people of color.
Oh, okay.
People of color. So it did not matter. The fair used to be from the beginning, the first week of the month. So that would be like around October the 1st or the 2nd or whatever, and it would go through the end of the month. But if people of color, we had that second Monday to go. And if you missed it, well, too bad. Now, it's not that you weren't allowed to go in the fair, but you were wasting your time because you couldn't do nothing.
Oh, okay.
You know, they would put up a Negro Achievement building, and the building was just a trailer, but it was standing in the corner. When you get to the Fair Park, it was up that one day. So that basically was saying, this is your day, and you were wasting your time if you went out there any other time.
Oh wow, oh wow, that is something. So how do you think what was the what do you think the how with this book? Is this a family book? Is this something that would benefit? I know it's targeted as a children's book, but do you believe that it's something that would target that would be good for the whole family to read?
I believe that a child all the way up to 85 would enjoy it, Denise. It's for all ages because it's something that everybody can relate to. I used a lot of historical data because there was a lot of going on in the 60s. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King was marching. Rosa Parks had already refused to give up her seat. There were riots in California. So basically, I bought in all of that atmosphere from around the country. I tried to make it sure that I used music from that time period. That was when the Supremes were popular, and James Brown was Papa Got a Brand New Bag, and Supremes were Stop in the Name of Love. So I made sure I brought in all of that rich flavor of the era so that kids would understand. And it would really be good to teach history. You could actually use it in a classroom to just not, if you just didn't want to get away from your traditional history book, it has so much historical information in it.
That's what I wanted to know. And so with that being said, what about the climate? You wrote it, and what about the climate that is set in the country today? But with everything that's going on today, it would how do you think that what do you think that it would do as far as the climate today? It's the way
To be
things
honest with
are
you,
going.
Denise, see, kids these days, they don't really realize, they've heard about Dr. Martin Luther King, they've heard about all the things, but they really don't understand because they don't have any context to put it in because they weren't there.
Yeah.
But in actually to read what a child went through, read about the segregated water fountains, read about the segregated restrooms. It would bring it into context, and to read it from a child's point of view about how the child felt. I think it would bring it in and help kids to understand when, the context of why our generation reacts to discrimination much differently than the generation of this time. But that would give them an understanding of why.
Mm-hmm. Now, who is in this story? Remember you actually sat down and read it to me, and so I was your test person. You read it to see about the flow and things like that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had my laughing point. So it's a great book for it's enjoyable. You get to laugh, you get to just about cry about all the things that are going on, and then you get to see it brings those times into the present is what I would say. So is that what you really wanted to do? Was that your goal for this book, is to achieve that as well?
Yes, as a teacher, Denise, I realized that kids, our kids don't read.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that, to give the kids humor. And Renee is my main character. She has such a sense of humor. She's so sarcastic at times. That's why I'm saying teenagers could relate to her sarcasm. Young people would relate to it. I wanted to bring in that humor, and so they could relate. And it's four children. They range in age from 16 down to 6. So a child of any age would be able to understand it, and they could relate to it.
Exactly. And I also think it's good for, like other cultures that may not have been in Texas at that time. If they read it, they could be able to understand some things about it too. And I don't think it's not set in a negative tone, but it's just set in what was really going on at that time. And so it is what was going on.
And
So
a lot of people don't know the history, Denise. They don't realize
they don't, yeah.
They don't. They don't realize that the state fair was segregated for some. It was segregated up until 1967.
Oh wow, wow.
Yes.
That's something to know. That is something to know, because at that point, we were way past a lot of things, way past a lot of things in certain areas, and for something to still be segregated at that point, I guess. But I guess schools are still going through segregation issues as well, I guess too, in that point in time. So I guess I can understand that. And so now let me ask this question, because when I heard the book, I kept asking you one question. Will there be a sequel? Will some of these other characters that are within the book have their own story at some point?
It's amazing you asked that. I remember when I was reading it to my sister, she's gone on now, but when I was reading it to that, her favorite character was Thelma. The main character is Renee. She has an older sister named Thelma. Thelma's a radical, you know, and my sister just kept saying, okay, this is fine, but Thelma got to write her own book. Because Thelma didn't see the world as Renee sees it. You know,
Right.
Thelma has grown up and she's experienced a lot more of the discrimination and the segregation because she's older. So at some point in time, I believe Thelma will eventually write her own story. For now, I know Renee has some other adventures that she's gonna have to tell about. Some other things that she's had to go through.
That's good. That's good. So we're looking forward to that. Because the other thing, I noticed that you got a 5-star award.
Woo! Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got a 5-star award. And what the person said was that there was good character development.
Yes.
And so tell us about, because I know you tell me all the time how the characters begin to talk to you and you start writing. So share that with our listening audience, that experience.
It's amazing. As I said, Denise, when we were in Houston and the idea came to me, well, you know, I came home and I just, you know, start hearing these little girls talking to me. And I'm going, so I already know that that's somebody that wants to talk to me. And so, you know, you put it off for as long as you have that you can. And then finally, when you have time, you sit down and the conversation starts when you ask the character, what's your name? And what do you want to tell me? And Renee started telling me, you know, I'm just dying to go to the fair. I don't understand why I can't go. And they keep telling me that it's not colored people's day. So basically, the story just started to develop as that character came alive in me. And basically, it was the 10-year-old me that was telling me, that was bringing up all those feelings of hurt and disappointment. And I just poured them into this character. And then actually, the character, the siblings in the book felt like actually they were my siblings. So, you know, the characters just come to life and they talk to you. The grandmother in the book reminded me of my grandmother. The mother in the book definitely was my mother, because there's one scene, whenever she has a problem, she goes to the kitchen window, and that was my mom. The kitchen window was her sanctuary. You know, whenever we looked, oh, mama's at the kitchen window, we knew something was going on. Well, I brought all of that to life in the book.
Well, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a break and hear from our wonderful sponsors. We'll be back in a few minutes with the author, Denise Montgomery.
What started as a love letter to her son has become an international love letter for all parents to their children. Now you can read acclaimed author Shanalee Charbonneau's story to your children. When her son was very sick, she calmed him by singing her own song to him. She turned that song into the book, My Mama Loves Me, I'm Her Little Boy. She wrote 3 more magical books for all parents and kids 6 and under. Available at Indie Lecter, Amazon, and all local and national outlets.
Hello, I am the author and poet Denise Bryson. I am the author of The Things That Cross My Mind, Love's Reality, both in book and audio form. I am also noted as one of the best poets of 2011. I have 2 new projects coming up. One is the Blinky series, where Blinky tells us all about our coins and our bills for our children. I also have a book coming out called Say Ye. It's quotes from Denise Bryson, just inspirational and that will help you along the way.
Thank you for watching or listening to this show. Indie Lecter is proud to sponsor this programming. As a thank you for listening or watching, we would like to give you a 10% coupon code that you can use on our bookstore at indielector.store. Use coupon code VIDEO19. Again, that's indielector.store, coupon code VIDEO19 for a 10% discount on any purchase. Thank you.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow.
Welcome back. I am your host, Denise Bryson, and we have been interviewing the author, Denise Montgomery, and she is the author of I Want to Go, The Setup, The Blessing, and Lady Madeline, and Farmer, oh Lord, let me get the name right, Farmer Brown, The Children's Story. So we're going to be continuing to talk to her. Now we're going to talk to her about her other books, because she has a lot of books. And you know, it's been said that everyone has one book in them.
Yeah.
But what separates the writers from the rest is the second book. And Denise, you are now on your fourth published book. Now I know you wrote more than that, but this is your fourth published book. So let's talk a little bit about your other books that you have already published and they're out there available to it for our readers.
Well,
start with the setup.
All right, Denise. The book right before I Want to Go was The Setup, and basically it's about three women. They share a bond. It's a mama and her two daughters, and they live in a fictional town in Mississippi called Claxton, Mississippi. So basically, some things change. You know, the Mississippi is a big floodplain, so the river flooded. After the river flooded, things just changed. The main character, her name is Marie, and Marie turns 21. And you remember when you turn 21, Denise, you think you knew everything. Can't anybody tell you nothing. So Marie and her family, when Marie turns 21, her mother is very religious, and she has her idea of things about how girls should be raised. And Marie is like, I'm ready to experience life. So she basically, as you know, she gets into some trouble. She meets the wrong guy, and basically she goes through some things. But it's basically the story of how women come together and that bond that's between us, because we all got secrets. So they all have secrets. They don't really know what's going on with the mom. They go through a lot of turmoil and a lot of changes, but it just shows how women's lives develop over time. I think the reader will really be interested in it, because the characters range in age from 21 all the way up to their 60s and 70s. So there's a woman there that everybody can relate to at some point in your life.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, what about the blessing? I remember when you wrote The Blessing, and we were all looking around thinking, Denise, is something happen we don't know about? Because, you know, I think people, you know, initially when they think about authors, they think about the authors, it being an experience that they have actually went through, and then they're telling the story. But we found that was not true. And so, tell us a little bit about The Blessing.
Well, Denise, The Blessing is basically about a woman being abused. Her name is Emily. So basically, you know what? Abuse is not just bam, 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 being hit. Abuse can be verbal as well. So basically, you know, when you're going through something or you're going through a relationship, at that time, I just took whatever I was going through and I poured it into that book. Emily came from a dysfunctional family. Her father didn't love her, and she knew that. And her mother didn't protect her as a mother would. So Emily, turns out she runs away at 16. But how do we ended up, you marry our fathers. So even though she runs away and she's out on the streets in Arizona, she ends up meeting a man named Jeff that she thinks is, oh my God, he's hotcakes and syrup too. But she finds out that, everything look good ain't good. But after you find that out, it's too late. So after her and Jeff get together, they end up coming right back to Arkansas, where all of this drama starts. And that's when the tale unfolds, because she finds out some things about her father. She finds out some things about her sister, her mother, and the abuse just gets worse and worse. But it's a story of survival and determination and perseverance and never giving up to the end. You have to go through to get through. So I enjoyed writing it. It was like a purging for me to just get everything out. And I ended up, I made a play
Yeah.
from the, yeah, because we were all in it. I
Uh-huh.
made a play I took a couple of chapters from the book, and God, I really enjoyed doing that. And I put it out for the year 2014. And it is my desire to get the play back up again. But basically, I just took the energy from those chapters, and I wanted to let people know how Emily was feeling. And we got good reviews, and as you remember, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that again.
Now, in that story, who would you say is the antagonist and the protagonist of that?
Woo, definitely. Jeff was definitely the antagonist, but it was some circumstances that changed his behavior. We don't always turn out bad, but it was some circumstances some things that Jeff was going through that changed his behavior. But toward the end, Emily is definitely the protagonist. You just fall in love with her, and you just want things to turn out better for her. And, you just have to read and see what happens to it. But Jeff is a mess. I'm just gonna say it that way. He is a mess.
Yeah, I remember when we was doing the play, and Jeff was playing the young man that was playing Jeff's part. When he was doing his part, we all wanted to beat him up. We actually wanted. He was really playing that part, but we was like ready to jump him. We was thinking, oh my God, because it was like they brought the story to life.
Yeah.
And when we began, we think we were in there. The people were in there like, oh my God, those kind of responses, holding their breath and things like that. So if you like that type those stories that have a lot of drama and a lot of those moments and those oh my moments and you like thrillers, this is a book for you. This is a thriller. I'm telling you, it's a thriller.
And it's a edge of your seat thriller from the beginning to the end, because you never know what's going to happen from one twist to the other one.
And
this time I was like, oh, is that really happening?
And you do plan to make some sequels out of this one as well.
I do, Denise. I really do. I'm waiting on Emily to start talking again. She hasn't said anything. She did right afterwards, but I'm like, okay, Emily, I need you to start talking again, because everybody keeps saying, Denise, what happened to Emily? I'm going to ask her, whatever's going on with her. I need you to start talking again.
I love to hear that when the authors tell me that the characters begin to speak to them, and so they take on a life. And then that's really how the character development can really be so precise, when they begin to really speak to the person that is writing. So you're telling someone else's story. So that's really awesome. Now let's talk about Lady Madeline and Farmer Brown. And the wonderful thing about your stories is that they all have a meaning, like a different meaning. Just like the blessing talks more towards people that were going through women that were going through domestic violence, and the setup spoke to people, like you said, women of all ages going through things at various ages in their life. So it spoke to that. And then also, like you said, I Want to Go speaks to a historical place, and it teaches, a child going through actually experiencing something in history. And so they all kind of speak to a specific topic. So tell us a little bit about Farmer Brown and Lady Madeline.
That was my first book, Denise, and basically it's about a dumb farmer and his wife, the most lovable couple you'd ever seen. Lady Madeline is special because she wears ball gowns out on the farm every day, and they live on a farm, and they're real, they're kind of slow. They haven't quite figured out yet how to get kids, so they go and seek the advice of an owl. And the owls are nocturnal, and he just the farmer actually wakes the owl up, so he decides he's going to play a trick on it. So he tells them to go through these flips and these turns to do some things to get the kids, but it works out for their good. And basically, I used that story because the teacher in me came out, and I have so many kids that were going through things, that were homeless and needed people to love them, and I think I just poured all of the love that I had for my kids into these characters to show people that, kids are starving and kids need love. They really do, and they need attention. So it would be a great story if you've had children that have been adopted. It's a great story. Yes, it is.
It also speaks to adoption as well.
Yes, yes.
And adopting kids are multicultural, because they were multicultural kids, exactly.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to show that love doesn't come in any color. You know what I'm saying? The kids just need to be adopted. They just need to be loved, because that's all they want. They want to be loved and cared for. So it was a joy writing it. I'm so glad I got through with it. I'm in the process of revising it, and I'm getting it on audio, so it should be available on audio pretty soon.
Now talk to people that do will do an audio book, and they're the ones that's doing. Some people get other people to read it, but you actually went through the process of doing your own audio book. Talk about that little experience. We have about 2 minutes to talk about that. So talk about that.
With the audio book for I Want to Go, I wanted the reader to hear my voice, so they would hear the sentiment that I share in the book. So I sat down all those hours and did the reading of the book, because I knew how I wanted the character to sound, and I felt like that kids would be able to enjoy. I tried not to show the teacher voice, but it may have come out a few times. And in Farmer Brown and Lady Madeline, I sat down with a group of friends, and we just read the books, and we had the different characters, because you want the kids to read, but let's be realistic. Let's keep up with the times. You need audio books because people want to hear books in their car, and you have to meet the needs of your reader.
Yeah, and now even now you have to do it in different formats. You just can't do CD. You have to do downloads. You have to do jump the USB kind of ports, and so there's so many avenues to take with the audio book besides the CD, because the newer cars are not coming with CD players. A lot of them.
Right.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? I'm Charlotte Kenyon, award-winning author of the book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, How to Parent Your Parents. That was a question I had to ask myself some 16 years ago, and you'll have to ask the same question. I had a father-in-law with dementia, a mother with Alzheimer's, and a dad with Parkinson, all at the same time.
What would you do if you found out everyone on the town council were thieves and murderers? That's what happened in Bandera, Texas in 1873. John Cruder was the marshal, yet he needed to operate outside the law in order to balance the scales of justice. He is the Midnight Marauder. You can find his books on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com in paperback, digital, and audio. I'm Roy Clinton, and I hope you'll read The Midnight Marauder.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
Hello. I'm your host, Denise Bryson, and I've had the privilege today to be interviewing Denise Montgomery, the author of I Want to Go, the author of The Setup, The Blessing, Farmer Brown and Lady Madeline, the children's story. So Denise, what is coming up next for you? I know you have another play coming up. Talk a little bit about that.
A few years ago, Denise, these 6 women started talking to me in my head. I knew it wasn't a book. I didn't feel like it was a book. So the name of the play is Secrets, Lies, and Conversations. It's about 6 women who have been friends forever. But they hadn't, how we get out of touch with one another. We hadn't seen each other. So these ladies, they come back together for a short visit on a Saturday. As usual, they have secrets. They've all told lies about different things. But they come back together and because some things have happened. And it's funny in parts, it's hilarious in parts, but it's serious in parts, because basically what I wanted, we're all in this together. And we're better together than we are apart. And I am so looking forward to getting this play up. I could just scream. I'm really ready to get it up off the ground when I find some sponsors in it. When I find some sponsors that can help me get this up, I am just raring and ready to go. It's ready to go, and I am too.
That is wonderful. It is a good play. I've witnessed that for myself because I'm one of the actors.
Yes,
so anyway,
I'm ready for you to put your acting shoes on.
Got my acting shoes on. So what's up next for you? What are you working on? How can we find you on social media? All of those things.
Well, Denise, you can, my website is DeniseMontgomery.org.
Uh-huh.
I'm on Facebook, Denise Montgomery. I'm on Instagram, Denise Montgomery. I'm on Twitter. Everything is just at Denise Montgomery. You can find my books. I'm on Amazon. I'm at Indie Lector, hopefully Indie Lector, and you can order them off of my website. I'm just so excited about being here and pleased that I was allowed to come today. I would appreciate, fans just letting me know what they think. Give me some reviews, get the book, and just let me know what you think. I really would like that. I love talking to people about them.
And what do you have any other books that you're working on now coming up?
Yeah, Denise, I have a book. Again, it's about a story, a young woman. It's all I know. I don't know if this is a fictional city, but basically it's about apartment 3G, and it's a lot of things that are going on in this apartment. The woman is a retired teacher. The woman is a retired teacher, and she's living on this floor, and she's writing about seeing all of these different things that are going on this floor of her apartment building, and she's writing about it, and she's telling the story. I've gotten one of the characters in some trouble, and I got to go back and get her out of trouble. I don't really know how. Yeah, well, she's gotten herself in some trouble, and I really don't. She was talking to me, telling me how she was getting ready to do something, and I was going, no, we can't do that. She was, she has I don't want to tell the story, but she's gotten herself in some trouble. And the way she was telling me, I can't let her get out that way. I got to do something different.
Do something about it. Well, Denise, it has been our pleasure to chat with you about your written masterpieces. Thank you for your time and all that you share with us. Please go out and support our authors. They have books out there, and you don't want to miss not one story that is being told. She's an awesome author, so thank you so much. She is the author of, again, I Want to Go. That's her new children's book. It's out there now. It's going to be in audio and written and ebook format. She has The Blessing. She has The Setup, and Farmer Brown and Lady Madeline's The Children's Story. And then you can get to her plays. If you hear about one of her plays, if you're in the Metroplex, over in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, look for those to see it. But thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you all, Texas.
It's been my pleasure. God bless. Bye-bye.
And remember to support our authors. Thank you, and have an awesome evening. We've enjoyed talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.store.